Hello, how is it going, everyone? If you can hear me loud and clear, type loud and clear in the chat box. Just let me double check my audio. Right, so let us know where you're watching this from. Are you watching this from Singapore? Are you watching this from overseas? Let me know. Okay, right. Audio is loud and clear. Right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Eunice Tan. I'm an entrepreneur, speaker, and trainer. Welcome to our Facebook page and YouTube channel on Daily People Skills. Let us know where you're watching this from. And once again, a blessed new year, right? Right. So let us know where are you watching this from. If you are watching from overseas, let us know which country, what's the time zone over there, and what is it, morning or afternoon? Yeah, I should get used to like saying afternoon and morning as well, right? If you're watching this from Singapore, have you had your dinner? Or are you watching this and having your dinner at the same time, right? Once again, welcome to our weekly Facebook Live sessions where we share our experiences with dealing with people and the mistakes we make, and of course, many of the hot tips and the solutions we use in our daily lives. Now, many people think that people skills is just about EQ, communication skills, and leadership skills. But people skills go much, much beyond that. At the bottom line, is about who you really, really are. Now, because before you can manage others, you must first manage yourself. It is also one skill that will never be replaced by technology and artificial intelligence. More about that later on. So for now, let's jump right into today's topic. Let me share my screen. Yes, that's right. It's a very interesting topic. It's kind of spilled over from my last topic on goal setting, useful or useless to set goal setting, right? Whether it's useful to do goal setting or useless to do so. So go and watch that video if you have not watched it yet, where I explore it's really a yes and no answer and how to make effective goal setting, right? Now, today's topic is on how to be more decisive. Yes, how many of you took a long time before you decide to watch this video? Right. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how decisive are you? Do you take a long time to make a decision? And in the first place, how long is long? No, I'm not talking about making a hasty decision or, being pressurized to make a decision. And what I'm talking about is that when it's time to make a decision and you choked, right? You have done all your research. You have done all the you have asked all the people whom you can ask. You might even know what decision you are inclined towards, yet you still could not do it. Why? So in this session, I'm going to explore why the fear of making decisions, some pointers to take note of, and how you can make decisions like a CEO, like a pro, right? Okay, right. So let's get started for today. Now, a lot of people spend a lot of time thinking and analyzing. I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying that at some point, sometimes you need to draw a line and say that that's it. I have to decide to do this or not to do this. I mean, think about it. This is the second week of this year, and we only have 50 weeks to go before we count down to 2022 again, right? And do you realize that we say the same thing every December and every January? Now, every December we will say, oh my goodness, time flies. I better do something worthwhile next year. And every January we say, I'm going to lose weight this year, right? So, every time we say this, myself included from time to time. And very often we say it, but we pay lip service only. And but we seldom make the decision to do it. Why? Right? So I'm going to share with you about indecisiveness, and hopefully this will help you to make decisions faster this year and better decisions this year as well. And I'll just stay to the end. I'll explain why this is so important, right? Okay, let me just go on to the first point, right? Why the indecisiveness? Right? Why we are so indecisive? Why we couldn't make a decision? Why is it some people can make very good decision and very quickly as well? Why is it that it's so bold? They look like they are just not scared anything. They look like they seem like they know everything and all that. Right now, so under this topic, today's session is actually quite short. So there are only two main points. Now, the first main point is on why the indecisiveness, but there are three sub points I want to just want to highlight in this session. Now, the first one, right, why the indecisiveness is actually the fear of consequences. Right, so and because when we don't know what are the consequences, we tend to be fearful of it. And sometimes even if we know of the consequences, we are still fearful for it. Or maybe precisely because we know, that's why we are fearful. But there are three common kind of consequences I want to highlight here in terms of three examples of consequences, the three common ones, right? The first one is when the consequences is an unknown consequences. That means you don't know what is it. There's no precedence. There's no examples or case study that you can do before that. For example, this is very prevalent when people want to when people just graduated. When they first graduate, transition from a student to their first job, it's kind of quite scary as well. So they don't know what is the consequences. And sometimes another milestone is usually when you're in your midlife, when you are in 30s, 40s, and you're thinking of switching to a totally different industry, or you're looking at maybe starting your business or making bigger decision like getting married. It's that one is really definitely unknown, right? Okay, some people obviously say no, it's known. Okay, right. So getting married, migrating to another country. Do you want to take a global job that you can move around and all? And do you want to move to another country even, right? So there's a lot of unknown consequences, and the most important, most prevalent thing in this category is that you don't know what you don't know, and that is always the worst case scenario. I mean, that's really the most scary part, because if you know what you don't know, you can still do something about it. But if you don't know what you don't know, where are you going to start? So this is usually the biggest pullback, I would say, that make people to be indecisive, because you don't know, right? If you know what you don't know, then at least you can do something about it. The next second one is that you know the consequences, but it's actually a negative consequences. Sorry, that was the note. So the negative consequences. So now it is not that you don't know the consequences, but you know that the consequences it might lead to a negative consequence, right? So you tend to be not able to make that decision, right? And or possibility of a negative consequence. That's why you're afraid to make the decision. So that kind of hold you back, because out of the 80-20 rule, 80% it might turn out well, but 20% it might turn out otherwise. So there's always this possibility of a negative consequence, and some people, they proceed regardless of the negative consequence, right? It doesn't mean that they just recklessly ignored it or whatever it is. But what they do is that they focus on the 80% positive consequences, and they focus on that, and they want to go for it, right? But some people, they focus on the 20% negative consequences and say, what if it doesn't work out? But what if it works out? Right? So you need to, this is not so as bad as the first one, which is the unknown, right? Because at least your negative, you can do something about it, and you can reduce your risk, you can take preemption, you can do a lot of things, right? The third common example is that you are very, very mindful, or you are very conscious of other people's opinion, right? And you might be thinking, if I make this decision, A will be unhappy. If I make this decision, B is unhappy. And if I make this decision, and then what would they think about me? It might be a decision that you have to make. It's the right decision, but it's not. It might not be a popular decision, right? But it's definitely objectively, this is the way to go, and this is the right thing to do. But you might attract some misunderstanding, and some people don't like that. Okay, and you might be doing something a bit out of your comfort zone, uncomfortable to you. For example, you might have to confront somebody. You might have to have a face-to-face talk with somebody. You might have to hold somebody accountable and have a face-to-face chat with the person. And some people are not very comfortable with that. And some people making that decision might offend someone very dearly, or you respect, or what. So you don't want to offend someone. So you're very aware and you're very conscious of other people's opinion, right? So, and this is also a very common reason why people don't make decisions, and they don't want to be the bad guy, in short, right? Now, the second point I want to talk about in terms of the why the decisions is it's more like, just take note of it. Is it a recurring, right? Recurring issue. So are you like constantly every day you are indecisive person? So, and regardless of the subject matter, regardless of the day, regardless of the amount or the risk, you are constantly every day, right? Regardless of big decision, small decision, you take a long time to decide to make a decision. Some of my friends, right? They when come to lunchtime, it's like I'm sure you have someone someone like that. They take like 15 minutes to go through the menu, walk around the food court, and they still haven't decided what to eat. And they decide, they might say, "Oh, I want to go to the other side. Oh, I don't want to eat." Okay, so that's still not too bad, right? But some of them are still like going round and round. No, yes, granted, sometimes I do that as well, because you really not in the mood to eat, or that place is somewhere you go for like the past 3 years. That's it, right? So you need to see, what is it? Is it a recurring thing? So what I'm saying here is that when it's a small thing, you behave this way. When it's a big thing, you also behave this way, right? Which let me take you to the other point, which is subject specific, right? So for this category of people, right, generally you can make decision quite fast, but when it comes to a certain particular subject matter, or you can be a certain amount, or certain person, or certain environment, you will find that you tend to hold back. You tend to maybe take a longer time. You will tend to don't make the decision so quickly, right? Even though you may know what is the right decision to do. Now, if you compare it to this, right? If you're subject specific, I'm not too concerned, because every now and don't beat yourself too hard on this, okay? Because every now and then we will come across certain things that you might want to take a bit longer time to do, because it's a little bit it might have more implication. It might be a little bit sensitive to you, right? Don't let anyone pressurize you into it, right? So it's not too bad, right? I'm talking about if it is a recurring issue whereby every day, no matter what the subject matter is, no matter how the amount is, no matter who the person is, no matter what's the environment or whatsoever, you're always taking a long time. Now, maybe you just need to just let go of a little, some of the things, don't think so much, and then just make a decision. Right, we'll talk about how to make a decision later on, but just take note of this. So I just want to, in summary, is to wrap up, is that if it's a recurring every day, regardless of small big decision, you really need to want to do something about it. If it's a subject matter specific, don't beat yourself too hard about it. If it's pertaining to especially when it comes to high ticket items, we tend to take a bit longer time. This is understandable, right? So understand that sometimes certain things take a bit longer time. It's fine. Yes. Right. The third point I want to make is not so much is the why the decision, but I just want to highlight, not making a decision is still a decision. Okay, let me repeat that. Not making a decision is still a decision, right? So have you thought about that? When someone told me this, right, and I went through a period of time where it's really hard for me to make a decision as well. It was a very loud period for me. I was going through some valley, and I go into this mode of people pleaser mode, and it was so hard for me to make a decision, because you know what? Every decision I make, all our decisions, somebody is not going to be happy. I'm not going to be happy about it, right? So you need to just decide that whether you want to focus on the 99% who are happy with your decision, or the 1% who is not going to be happy, right? I always say there will be 10% who love you no matter what you do, 10% will be angry with you no matter what you do, and the rest of the 80% is just depending how you convincing you are. And also sometimes so you need to just really understand that, no matter what, there will always be people who are not going to be happy about it. But also later on, once I realized that, I stick to what is the right decision for the overall, for the big picture. So sometimes when the big picture is that, I need to step down aside, okay, let someone lead, that's fine. Just have the, it's good to treat your pride and ego a little bit as well, right? And sometimes it's good to be a follower as well. I learned that it's actually quite relaxing, more relaxing than being a leader, because a leader has a lot of responsibility, correct? Right? So I will enjoy whether I'm a follower, whether I'm a leader. Now, so I just want to highlight this thing on not making a decision is still a decision, because a lot of people don't realize that. And not making a decision is just a waste of your own time. We'll talk about wasting time in a bit later on. Now, when I say not making a decision, that means you haven't decided yes or no. Now, I always say yes or no is a good answer, right? Maybe it's not. Can you imagine someone want to propose to you, or you propose to somebody and the person said maybe? What is maybe, right? It's either a yes or a no, right? And can you imagine that I say, hey, hi, you meet me for coffee, and then I say maybe. What is maybe? It's not. No, it's better for me to outrightly to say that, I can't make it, sorry, let's change it to another day. At least you can move on, right? I won't hold up your time. So I want to tell you and really emphasize that not making a decision is actually causing more damage than you think, not only just to yourself and to the people around you. So have the guts, right, just to make a decision. Yes or no are good answers. Maybe it's not a good answer. Remember that, right? Okay. Now, so since we have been talking about making decision, so let's go on to talk about how to be more decisive then, right? Okay, how do we be more decisive? I have 7 pointers here. There are many things that we can do, but I'm just going to share these 7, which have been working for me and the people around me, and it's very common. It's commonly used, common tricks for many people as well. Now, first up, what I do is that, oops. Okay, so the first one, and since I shared the second one as well, yeah. So the first thing is to know the objective and decision that you want to achieve. Now, the objective and the outcomes that you want to achieve, right? It can be quantitative, like, X amount of money that you want to make, X number of sales you want to make. That's fine. Or what countries you want to go, who you want to meet, that kind of stuff. It's quantitative, it can measurable. That's fine. You can also be qualitative, like, you just want to have fun. Right? If you want to just have fun, that's fine. Just go and do it. And you want to be silly for one day, go and do it. Right? You want to do something, challenge yourself, go and do it. Now, these are all the qualitative reasons. Now, why I want to highlight that is because a lot of people, when it comes to objective and outcomes, right, they always think quantitative only. And they always think that, oh, you know what, I have to decide. It's a very numerical, it's a very left brain, very rational, there's no emotions involved and all that. So I just want to share with you that it can be something as simple as, I just feel like, this is the right thing to do. Yeah. So just be aware of what the objective and the outcome you want to achieve. This is very important. Later on, as you can see, that we'll talk about options. Now, there are many different options, and this will link back to the objective and outcomes that you want to achieve, right? More about that in a minute. Now, the second point is to set a deadline for your research, right? So yes, we sometimes, every now and then, we need to do a certain amount of research, right? So especially if you are talking about high ticket items, and you need to do a certain amount of research first, and Google some of the things, and Google the developer, for example. If you're buying a property, you are doing this and that, so you want to make sure that it's valid, right? That's fine. Now, the question is that sometimes when is too much research, right? For some of you who are indecisive, right, sometimes you are doing too much research. And of course, we have the other end where people are doing too little research, right? So too little research, I'm just going to touch and go here, right? So that means these people, they some of them, they don't even do their due diligence. They just take it as it is. If they want to take responsibility for that, that's fine, but don't lay blame on others, right? If you are doing too little research. Now, the problem is that for people who are indecisive, usually they feel that their research is not enough. They feel that their research is too little. In actual fact, they are already doing too much research. Now, so what happens is that what I do is that just to prevent myself from going overdrive in terms of this research part, and there's always something else you can find out. There's always something else you can find out, right? So I set a time limit. Yes. So within this time limit, I will find all the answers that I need. Find all the questions, ask all the people I want, ask all the experts I know, all these things, and then I will set a time. I will set a time limit. Now, in this way, I won't be pressurized in making a hasty mistake, a decision. And I won't be pressurized, to just when the person say that, today is the last day, you have to make a decision, when you just told me about 2 hours ago, and then you want me to invest like 100,000, 500,000, $1 million. No, it cannot be like that, right? I need time to digest and all those things. So you don't make hasty decision and don't be pressurized into it. So if I really cannot do it, there's a minimum research I need to do. Say, for example, 1 day, right? So I will do that, right? But at the same time, right, I will put a limit. Now, this amount, I will spend 3 days to do it. Or maybe, I have a busy week, so I'll spend a week to do it. Overall, I will give myself a week to, I will decide in a week's time. Whatever it is, I will set a time limit and say, I will make a decision at the end of the week. Whether, again, yes or no, right? That's fine. So if I feel that at the end of the week, if I find that I'm still very uncomfortable, there's still too many holes here and there, there's still so much to know, and the more I dig, the worse it is, then you know what? Come the end of the week, I will just say, no, you know what? It's fine. And do I have the fear of, missing out? Or, am I missing out on an opportunity? Yeah, I used to, but not anymore, because I know opportunities are everywhere around us. So it's fine. Yeah, so don't worry about it. So one thing about indecisiveness for people is that sometimes they just flip here and there. Oh, what if this? What if that? These are good, but they see the negative. Then they see the negative, but then they see the positive. So they are always flipping here and there. So that is the worst thing, actually. So set a deadline for your research, and then once the time is up, make a decision to say yes or no, and don't look back. Which is actually, I'm jumping ahead of myself, right? So these are the two things first. Know the objective and outcome that you want to achieve. Set the deadline for your research. Then let me come to the third point. Right, just give me a moment. Next, we have, right, these three come hand in hand also. So we list down the pros and cons of the options. So of course, you list down all your options, right? And then you list out the pros and cons, and including the quantitative and qualitative, I always say, right? And remember to list down also the time taken, and whether emotionally are you able to stomach that. Whatever it is, just list down the options and just cut down to 3 options, right? If you cannot decide within that 3, you don't need 100 options for you to analyze. Yes. Now, point number 4 is to think of what's the worst case scenario. Now, this goes a little bit further than pros and cons. It also touch on the impact on others. Now, so for example, a lot of investment presentation, right? Whenever someone want to show me an investment presentation, they will tell me all the good things, all the investment, what is it about, and then this and that. Now, I always ask them one question after that, right? And I always ask them, what's the worst case scenario? And if I can stomach that worst case scenario, the rest is bonus, right? Make sense? Yes, it is, because there's always risks involved, but it's just that how much risk and how are we going to manage it? Even walking on the streets, right? You might fall. And a few weeks ago, I just missed the step, and I felt how embarrassing, right? But you know what? It's fine. Yeah. So there's always risks involved. So you just need to minimize the risk and know that you have done all you can to minimize it. You have done all you can to have a safety net to it and all. So don't beat yourself too much about it, but always ask yourself what's the worst case scenario, right? So this applies to anything, not just investment, everything in life. Yes. Now the next one is also within your budget, what are your options? Right. This question is very important, especially to tackle your fear of missing out. Nowadays, we have this FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. So this is one thing that you can really look at. Now, sometimes, and these three things, right, is very good when it comes to, especially comes to high ticket items. So if you look at it, right, so small items, we generally we are able to make a decisions, yeah. So even if it's a lousy decision, it turns out to be not okay, we can live with it. Now it's the high ticket items that sometimes we tend to whether to do or not to do, and sometimes we don't do, we miss out a really good opportunity, and sometimes we do it and then we proceed and it turns out to be not as good as we think it is. So I think this is the question that I'm more concerned with rather than the more of the small little decisions. So for high ticket items, right, you can actually use these 3 points to help you to come to a conclusion whether to go ahead or not, right? So you list down all the pros and cons of your options. You ask yourself what's the worst case scenarios. Remember also to take into consideration of your timeline. What if things don't happen? Are you able to last out for are you able to write it out, and how long can you write it out for? And within your budget, what can you do? This is especially so when it comes to, for example, properties. Now, if you have a budget of 400,000, right? I mean, that's all you can afford, right? And that's it, right? You just look at what within 400,000, what can you do? You don't even have to look at anything more than 400,000. At least not for me, because I don't want to waste time looking at it, unless I really think that hey, you know what? Although I have a budget of 400,000, but I can stretch a little bit. So I maybe look at it a bit more. Yeah. And even if I have $1 million and I only budget 400,000 for buying this property and the next property, there must be a reason why I keep the other 600, for example. Right. So just stick to it. It's fine. Right. Don't get swayed by things that are going around. Don't be distracted. Stay on course. Right. So that's why you need all these guidelines to keep you in check. Right? I get distracted easily, so I need all these things, all these parameters to help me to, keep me in control, keep me in focus. Don't get distracted and don't be attracted by all those that are glittering. Remember, all those that glitter are not necessarily gold or diamond. Yes. Right, so these are the 3 for the high ticket items. I always use these 3 points to help me to come to a conclusion. Now, then the last 2 is very, very important. Once you have made a decision, right, go all the way to make it work. Right, don't look back. And you don't a lot of people, what they do is that they have ordered their food, but they are looking at other people's food at the same time, right? And they regretted, oh, I should have ordered yours. Again, I use food as an example, but you know what I mean. They are looking at this, they're not being present. They look at this, but they want that one. But when they are over the other side, they are looking at this. So you need to just, once you have done your analysis, research, your pros and cons, you did all the 5 points that I mentioned earlier on, make a decision. If you are going to go ahead, go ahead. If you don't want to go ahead, that's fine. But then go all the way to make it work. If you are going ahead, right, make it work, do whatever, keep track of it, do what you can, and keep abreast of any news that might affect it. If you're not going to go ahead with the decision, that's fine too, right? But don't say that, and then 5 years or 3 months later, look at it and, hey, you know what, I should have gone ahead with it. Fine, it's fine, which leads me to the next point, the 7th point, right? Change how you make, how you view mistake. Right. Sometimes we do, and when we make the decision, give room for mistakes. Sometimes we do make mistakes, right? So when you make mistakes, right, don't change how you view mistake. Mistake is just a mistake. It's a thing. It's a consequences. It's what happened. It's consequences of what happened, what you did, right? Of your choice. What it turned out to be. It's not really pertaining to who you are. Your identity should not be tied to all these things. Your identity should be tied to things like you are the child of your parent, you are your parent's son, you are son, daughter, You are a husband or wife, you are a father, mother, you are brother, sister, you are a good friend, you are a business partner, good employee, good employer, these kind of things, yeah. The mistake is only pertaining to what you did, not who you are. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Now, take the mistakes as an opportunity to learn and review. Now, talking about review, I have another a video talking about how you review, right? Okay, why how you review is really look at what works and what can be improved, and know that is there's no perfection in this world. Okay, so that is something that you must really know. And also there are give room for uncontrollable factors, right? If you have already done all you can, you have done all the previous point I have already mentioned. So do watch this video again. It's really really good. It's really helpful, right? And I'm saying it's good because it's experience of 20, that my personal 20 years of experience, and other people I have spoken to, and people who have been there, done that, make so many mistakes in their life as well, right? So change how you view mistakes. And once you view the mistakes as an option to learn and review, right, you will realize that it helps you to make decisions easier and more boldly as well. You have the courage to make decisions as well, rather than, I don't know this, I don't know that. You are just really in a situation where you are flipping here and there. Remember, the worst case scenario is I don't know what I don't know, right? That's the worst state, not scenario. That's the worst state to be in, right? So once you review these 7 points, you will realize that it's actually kind of run in a cycle. So once you view your mistakes in a positive manner, it will give you that's how you learn and you gain experience, right? Once you gain experience, next time you make a better decision, right? You know what to look out for and all. I remember I reading this, right? So a journalist interviewed a very successful investor, and whatever he touched, turns into gold, that kind of thing. Then they call him he has the Midas touch. Everything he touched turns into gold. So the journalist asked the investor, "Hey, you know what? You are really, you are very good. How do you make so much money?" And he said, "By making good investment." And then the journalist said, "Yeah, I know, by making good investment, but how do you make good investments?" And the investor said, "By making bad investment." Get it? Right? You will get it. But once you get it, it's hard to get it out of your head, right? And you know what? This is one of the best lessons I've ever learned. Yes? Right. Okay, so here you go, 7 pointers to help you to make a decision faster and better. Right? Just remember, time waits for no man. They say that time is money. I say time is life. Every minute you wasted thinking, you hesitated, is every minute of your life gone, right? Passing by you. If you don't believe me, just go to any mainstream school, or just hang out with people who are 20 years younger than you, and you will start wondering, where did all the time go? So yes, do your research, weigh your pros and cons, and then make a decision and go, right? Right. So that's all I have for today. Do you have recurring situation when it comes to people, whether it's dealing with others or dealing with yourself? Then if the same thing keeps happening, keep coming up in your life, no matter where you go, what you do, let us know what it is in the comments box, or you can drop us a private message. We will answer to the best that we can. And many people have asked me why am I speaking and teaching something on people skills, something that not so much as a mainstream compared to investment and making money, right? It's because people skills is a very practical and important skill set. I would say it's a life-saving skill set. I know many of you are concerned about being replaced by technology and artificial intelligence. Now, I totally believe that people skill is one skill that will never be replaced by technology and artificial intelligence. You can talk about coding, cyber security, or whatever competent skills for your occupation. But these are technical skills that will get obsolete and will have to keep upgrading yourself in this area. Yes, they are important. I'm not saying they are not. But behind every hardware, software, non-living thing, there's a human being. This is what keeps me going, because I know behind every camera, there is one person, at least one person watching, learning, and needing this message. It doesn't matter what business or what industry are you in, you are always dealing with people. And furthermore, let's face it, we are all social animals, right? We crave for the company of other people. And this pandemic has shown us more so than ever. With all this safe distancing, not able to gather with our families and friends, it has shown us that even with the best technology, it cannot replace the company of each other. So you might as well start learning how to deal with people, and the first person to deal with is with yourself. So click the like and share button, subscribe and follow us in this journey of improving yourself, and we'll see you in our next video. Bye.